Hi, I'm Robert Hughes. Welcome to 1640, where founders get 1,640 seconds to tell me about what they're building and get me excited about what they're doing. Let's go. Jared, this is 1640. We're gonna have a 20-second elevator ride to impress me with your big idea. And if I like it, we're gonna go on a 4-minute walk together. You can tell me a little bit more about what you're doing. If that goes well, we'll come back inside and have a 20-minute sit down where we can dive in more into the business, where it is today and where it's going. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, let's get going.
Let's do it. Hi, I'm Jared, CEO of HomeScore. We're helping homebuyers navigate the home buying process from search to signature. We're building an AI sidekick that actually helps buyers work with their agents to make smarter decisions and save money through all different milestones throughout the whole process.
That's incredible. I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah, totally.
Wish we had more time. So Jared, tell me a little bit more about HomeScore. So you're basically creating that digital agent for the home buyer, who people are buying homes.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how that feels like differently from the existing experience.
Great question. So for us, our goal, a lot of people go through the home buying process with an agent.
Yeah.
Our goal is not to disrupt that necessarily, but rather to augment it. So it's a place where you collaborate with your agent.
Okay.
But our goal is to give you a stellar experience, help you get educated on some of the milestones that you're going through the home buying experience, whether that's financially, better understanding the total cost of ownership of a property, helping you get educated about when a certain milestone is coming up, maybe your disclosure window is ending. So having that all in one place is super helpful. So that's very different than what exists today, because the agent's communicating you via text, via email, across 15 different threads. They might be pulled in a lot of different directions. So that's it's much more centralized experience.
Is that end result of this product going to be more loans getting across the finish line smoother? And there's a lot of things that come up in the home buying process.
Yeah.
In the final stages, usually there's some sort of rush for missed documentation, and something was missed, something's being contested.
Yeah.
Is sort of one of the aims of HomeScore to make sure that a lot of those pains of the experience are taken away from the home buyer.
Yeah. So a couple of things. So we are trying to allow agents to do more deals simultaneously, reduce the amount of cancellations, a lot of those kind of last minute issues that crop up. We want to flag that for them, help them rectify those quicker so that buyers can not miss out on deals or not face certain penalties. So, that's a huge, benefit of what we're building. I think it's really helpful because, a lot of buyers, really get frustrated by the complexity of the process, and a lot of agents have dozens of deals that they're working through at the same time, especially really top full-time agents. So, we're hoping to kind of bridge the gap between those, giving people a stellar experience and helping regular agents become superstars by being more efficient.
Incredible. Does it interface with the lender?
So that's something that we have on our roadmap going forward. Our goal is really to have this. I went through the planning process recently with my wife, and Zola is kind of the go-to app that you end up using for centralizing the last possible day to disinvite Aunt Etna. When you're managing certain vendors, that's the same thing for HomeScore. We're trying to bring on, at some point, title companies, lawyers, as well as lenders, as a place for you to better understand the financial situation that you're about to undergo, help you plan certain improvements to the home as you move and transition from being a home buyer into a homeowner. But we want to grab all that data before you hit the checkout button, before you sign on the dotted line. So that to us is, the most important part. So bringing loan officers on is, definitely on our roadmap.
Is the key stakeholder you're going after right now, is it the agent or is it the buyer?
So it's really a B2B2C model.
Okay.
For us, going direct to buyer, it would be amazing. The hard part is reaching people at that very exact moment is quite difficult.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you end up defaulting to something like a Zillow, where it's just a search engine.
Yes.
And our goal is, we're not building that. We're allowing you to dive deeper into a platform, organize yourself, stay educated, track certain milestones. So that really happens when you go from daydreaming about $15 million mansions in Malibu to, okay, I got the 20 15 homes that I'm actually serious about
Yeah.
searching. So that's why we're going B2B2C, because realtors really start that relationship then. They shepherd you through the touring process. They help you understand certain things that you should be eyeing. What are your non-negotiables? That's when you start to get serious. So that's really where we see ourselves inserting into the current home buying process.
Home buying is oftentimes described as a very emotional purchase.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest assets that most people have in their lives. It's a very big decision. Is HomeScore doing anything to really help along the emotional state of the buyer?
Yeah. So one of the things we have is we have this voice-enabled intake quiz where we better understand buyers' preferences, priorities, and risk profile. And we kind of create this really cool kind of like radial chart, this chart that shows, really eight different categories. And what that does is it helps the buyer visualize what are the most important things to them, what house might be amazing for having kids and having a great backyard, and something that's quite accessible. Another house might be a great place to cook. So there's a lot of emotional factors. So our goal is to use the home score itself as a way to visualize the emotions that you go through the home buying process with, as opposed to just kind of reading blankly in a giant Excel spreadsheet. This one has 3 bedrooms, this one has 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult.
I remember in purchasing a couple of homes myself,
Yeah.
the inspection report was always very hard to parse through and figure out what the most important elements were.
Yeah.
What are the things I really should be concerned about, and which things are more of nuisances and less important to the deal. Is HomeScore helping the buyer understand that very long and detailed report, and understanding like, hey, this is a home, it's this many years old, there's going to be some issues. Don't worry, these are the ones you really need to worry about.
Yeah, so that's one of the big things that we do today. So you're able to upload a home inspection. We're able to give you cost estimates into certain repairs. We're able to kind of even put you in contact with contractors that might be able to address this on a local basis.
Oh, wow.
So that's really helpful. But basically these 150 page reports filled with a lot of complex language like knob and tube wiring, we're able to help digest and personalize for you, so you figure out what the next steps are.
All right, that's fantastic. Look, it's been a cold, windy walk. Why don't we get inside and continue the conversation?
All right, sounds good.
Go. Thank God we're out of the cold, out of the wet, so we can continue this delightful conversation. Jared, tell us a little bit more about where the company is today and what milestones you're trying to achieve in the next 6 months.
Yeah, so in terms of where we're at today, we've had over 500 users. A lot of those were B2C users, people looking to get some insight into their home inspection, kind of figure out after, while they're buying a property, like what are some things to keep in mind as we're negotiating through the process. And then, in terms of, additionally, we just signed a LOI with an organization called CHAPA. They do home buyer education in Massachusetts. So they have about 11,000 people go through that program a year. So imagine this, you exit an educational seminar, and this is the app that you use to bring with you through the home buying journey after you leave that class. So, that's kind of a big piece of momentum we have. In addition to that, we're in the final stages of negotiating a pilot program with actually a top 10 brokerage in the US. And that will be all about unlocking greater efficiency for their agents. And probably the best side effect of that for buyers is a really incredible experience that guides them through the process. So, creating the intersection of greater efficiency for buyers or for agents, and a more stellar experience for buyers is, kind of what's at the part of that milestone. For us going forward, the big thing is really inking a couple more partnerships with largely mid-size brokerages. And then in addition to that, doing a lot of testing with buyers. A lot of times, a lot of these tools that launch in the property tech space are focused just on the customer, being the realtor or the lender, whomever that is. But our aim is really to make an app that truly is joyful to use for the buyer, empowers them to upload their own data, keep track of things, kind of like what Mint was for personal finance. It's obviously there were a lot of corporate partners there, but it's an app that was truly joyful for the customers that used it.
And what's the path of monetization? Are you charging the buyer? Are you charging the broker? Are you charging the bank? Tell me who's paying you to use HomeScore?
Yeah, so right now, actually, we just finished our Stripe integration. So we're launching that literally this weekend. And the exciting part about that is you're able to search 5 properties for $5. That allows you to upload home inspections, get cost estimates, collaborate with your partner, a bunch of different features. So that's the B2C product. That's really a phase 1, just for us to better understand the stickiness of the current feature set. And then from there, as we work with various brokerages, the way that we're looking to monetize, it's actually giving away the transaction management part for free, and then charging based on consumption of certain AI agents. So for instance, having an AI agent manage the buyer-seller timeline, the constant rescheduling and coordination of documents, it's $90 for that. Managing the home inspection process, coordinate with, let's say you have you're setting up a home inspection for 123 Main Street. You want someone to come by the house on a Saturday. You realize that there's some broken tile. A lot of these realtors have kind of this round table of people that they kind of call upon to help rectify certain issues in a home. So our goal is to automate the estimate of what those repairs may be, help cost out what those estimates for the property are, and then relay all of that information and render it neatly in the app for the buyer to see, while kind of taking a huge load off for the realtor. So that individual product would be $75. So our goal is charge based on solving realtors' problems. So it's kind of, if you want to pay for the shortcut, you can.
Yeah.
Awesome. But the software itself is free.
Okay, got it. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, what does the team look like? Is it you and a co-founder? Is it you and a couple of people? Tell me what the team looks like today.
Yeah, so my co-founder and I, we're kind of like a PB&J founder combination. We met during our MBA program at Carnegie Mellon, Sharat and I, and we've been able to bring on 2 other developers, one front end, one back end. We've had an intern or 2 along the way as well. So there's really 4 of us, plus or minus an intern. Yeah. So, full time, it's kind of like 1.5 of us at the moment. A couple are moonlighting at the moment. But the exciting thing is we're, in the middle of our fundraise, that'll kind of tip the scale to more of the team joining full time.
Well, hopefully 2025 is a change of temperature in the venture market. Are you going out for a pre-seed or a seed round?
So a pre-seed round, we're looking to raise $700K at a $5 million post-money cap. For us, we want to raise quickly. It's really difficult to, enter this market now. I think that there's a lot of startup momentum in this space there was this recent National Association of Realtors settlement, which no longer allows sellers advertise commission rates to buyers' agents. Kind of the repercussion of that isn't necessarily the decrease of commissions, but there's about 1.5 million realtors in the United States. About only 20% of them do about 80% of the deals. So a lot of those part-timers are likely to be swept out of the market. So kind of our goal is to make realtors more efficient, even if commission rates come down slightly, or if a lot of part-timers exit the industry. Those full-time folks are going to be really busy, and they might not have the same commission rate to work with. Our software allows them to be 10x more efficient, while providing a 10x better experience to buyers.
What was the signal to you that and your co-founder that maybe this was the time to launch HomeScore? Was there an experience you went through, or was it just reading the tea leaves of all the new regulation around the home buying and commissions? And there's been a lot of attention paid on that recently. What was the thing that really, was there a couple of things? Tell me about the run up to why you decided to launch this company.
Yeah, Rob, I think that's a funny question. So there's definitely a personal story in it, and then it kind of got met with some interesting tailwinds. So I call myself a failed home buyer. Myself and my now wife probably looked at about 45 properties in the Boston area, not too far away from where we are right now. I opened a lot of different doors, and I didn't know that there was a hot water heater that had snuck a peek at a label that said 1965. And I'm like, I don't think they're supposed to last that long.
Yeah.
And, right then someone shut the door, and, the realtor said that there's already an offer contingent, and, they're foregoing the home inspection. And I thought to myself, man, I wouldn't buy a 1995 Ford Taurus without a Carfax report. Why isn't there something like that for home buyers? So it really came from a place of transparency, being able to do better, more efficient due diligence. But also, I was touring those properties without an agent myself. So how can I do better due diligence, get better customer service, advice from my agent, maximizing their time? And then that personal experience really was frustrating because we missed out on a couple of deals. We actually churned through a realtor or two because we weren't necessarily educated about what we needed to do when, what was the quality of a property, what's the ownership complexion of a property that's built in 1909 versus 1999. Maybe the monthly payment's different, but that roof's not going to hold up, so that's going to change things. So, I think that's the personal experience that guided me as far as, the trend, that recent National Association Realtor settlement. The dust is still settling. A lot of that really came into place in August in 2024. So there's a lot of ways that can take shape, but I think the underlying insight behind that is realtors are going to have to get a lot more efficient in light of potential pressure from commission rates or changing of the workforce.
Wow. And so we talked about outside when we were on that walk, that freezing cold walk. Wasn't that cold? It was moderately chilly. We were talking about how the home inspection and understanding what was going on there, that was actually the core product that this started out in, it sounds like. And then you're like, well, why don't we solve the rest of this home buying experience through the lens of the buyer working with an agent?
Yeah, Rob, I think the thing is, we realized we're like, wow, there's some really great insights that we're getting from our early testers. We were able to see that buyers were able to realize like, oh my God, I didn't know that there was like an insulation issue in this crawl space. Someone was misreading their home inspection report, and it really helped them better understand that, potentially that's something that they should address as a homeowner. However, the feedback that we got is like, wow, this is really helpful, but the ink is kind of not even dry yet. And that's when you were helping me out. I really would have appreciated some additional insights to guide me to make smarter decisions earlier on. As I'm starting to get serious about buying, like how are my financials prepared in a way to show me what I could genuinely afford? And there's plenty of these mortgage calculators or homeownership calculators, but it doesn't necessarily show you over the lifespan of a home, what's the 5-year ownership cost of a property? That's a lot different than just being able to walk in the door the first time.
Is the unexpected costs that really add up for people, and especially if you're going from being a renter or living in a condo to going to owning your own home and realizing all the things that can and do go wrong, and additional money you need to have set aside to take care of those occasions, that I think is one of those perceived barriers of entry for people buying their own property and owning it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge step forward. And, for a lot of people, they've never seen so many zeros on a check. They've never gone through, this process with that much stress. A lot of people, there's been a lot of studies, people would rather found getting divorced was less stressful, looking for a new job was less stressful, uh, dealing with childcare issues less stressful. There's a lot of research that shows that buying a home is one of the most stressful things that people do. And there hasn't been a lot of innovation that has really changed that experience. So our goal is to really have the app that is, truly indispensable for the buyer. I kind of talked a little bit about Zola, the wedding planning app, has kind of centralized a really disparate and confusing process for people looking to buy, go through the wedding planning process. That's exactly what we're doing for home buying. It involves a lot of different vendors, partners, your financials to a large degree, as well as emotionally. Like, how do I interpret one property over another? Or am I just romancing on the fact that I love this mid-century modern backsplash and I'll deal with the rest of it?
Ideally, in the future, is HomeScore the place where buyers start their home buying experience?
No,
Okay,
it's the place where you want to go when you get serious about home buying.
got it.
Z- Zillow, Realtor.com, these places do a great job at being that front door, but it's not the place where you want to get comfy and settle into what are the things that I have to think about for home buying. So we don't have a search engine on our app. Let's have you look at the 15 properties on Zillow. Fine. But once you start adding them to HomeScore, we then invite you to take photos. The average person takes 20 to 40 photos of a property as they walk through it. They look at utility bills. They look at other disclosure docs. Maybe uh, the seller shares with you their lawn care bill, some of the stuff that we've kind of heard from our research. Our ability to ingest that and present insights that illuminate the total cost of ownership of the property, but also help you better understand, what is in this property, what are the benefits of it to me, are things that go well beyond what Zillow is able to do. But that's not their role. Zillow is, really focused on being a lead generation tool, really masquerading as a buyer-focused tool for realtors. So our goal is really to be the indispensable resource that you open daily as you're working through the home buying process, because it is a full court press. In many cases, you got to get the deal quick, and we think that we can help buyers move quicker if everything is centralized.
What are the KPIs that you as a team are highlighting to both buyers that are going to use the app and to realtors who are going to be leveraging it and institutions that might be leveraging it for customers? What are the KPIs that you're highlighting? Like, here's what we do better. This is why you want to use HomeScore.
Yeah, so I think, for buyers, really it's about engagement. So we're looking at, a lot of AI apps do this wall of text. You use ChatGPT, you get this big wall of text. The hard part is, in the home buying experience, the number one thing that people are afraid of is the unknown unknowns. So you don't know what questions to ask. So we've developed these info cards that are dynamically generate insights, pricing for certain repairs, as well as, outlining why this repair is relevant based on your risk profile. So, the reason why I mentioned that is, how are people interacting with these dynamically generated info cards? Are they clicking into them and then chatting further? That to us shows that they're really engaged. These info cards, our goal is to generate 20 or 30 of them per property that you render, that you upload. We don't want to have 70 different insights. Information paralysis isn't something that a buyer needs more of. Our goal is to clarify it. So these info cards need to be pithy. They need to be clear. So the interaction with them, I think, is really important for buyers. In addition to that, actions taken. So they organizing tours, setting up tours through the platform. We're building out this dashboard feature, which kind of scans through your email or any attachments that your realtor sends to you, re-renders them within our app, and then helps you make smarter decisions. For instance, maybe the HOA doesn't allow ramps to be put in, and there's an accessibility concern. Our goal is to see how people are interacting with those cards. And on the realtor side, it's really about how are people using the AI agents that we're developing to expedite their workflow.
When you mean people, you mean the agents themselves? How are they using them? So how many clients they'll be able to shepherd at the same time through the home buying experience?
Or like even more granular from a product standpoint, like, are they using it a lot to automate the home inspection process? Are they using it a lot to manage the buyer-seller timeline? Once we kind of get a ballpark for what these 2 or 3 original agents that we're launching to help real estate agents, then we'll be able to develop more AI agents to help certain workflows.
That totally makes sense. So for them, it's a gain of efficiency. For the home buyer, it's a gain of clarity. What about for eventually institutions that you'll be working with? What's the KPI that you'll be pointing towards? Like, this is why you need HomeScore for all the many people that are running through this, as there's a lender or as a program that's helping them, first-time home buyers, understand what that whole process is going to look like and understanding the risks and the rewards of doing that.
So our goal is really to have HomeScore be the permanent record of your home long-term. So we want to get all this data while you're obsessed with it. Not a lot of people on a Saturday night are dreaming about their new hot water heater, but they think about it a lot when it breaks. And they're not necessarily going to send you a giant junk drawer full of all of their property information. So the time to get it is early in the process, when they're going through the buying process. So to us, getting that information now allows us to then forge stronger partnerships going forward. So with lenders, maybe they're looking for a home equity line of credit down the road. They have invested heavily in maybe redoing their kitchen, maybe in 2032. We would then integrate with that contractor to prove that they meaningfully increase the value of their property through this renovation, and that changes the kind of schematics of what that home equity line of credit might look like. And that's a reason why a lender might partner with us to get visibility into better appraising the walls-in quality of the property that they're considering extending a loan to. So, that's one way that we're looking at partners. Another way is, from an advertising perspective. If we know the size of certain rooms, you can say that, one of these bedrooms can fit a king-size bed sponsored by Wayfair, for example. So there's a lot of personalized ways to turn your home into a knowledge graph of really interesting insights that can help you better plan renovations, better plan maintenance, connect you with suppliers. I mean, Angie's list, what was Angie's list, really tells you, it's a place where you go to figure out, I got to get a new HVAC unit.
Yeah.
But if we know that your home was built in 1899 and ductwork is going to be a pain in the butt to put in, mini splits might be the better option. And that type of insight is only something that we would be able to house due to the first party data that we are accumulating. So that to us is another reason why, as these partners going forward, could be lenders, could be advertisers, could be service providers, giving a more high fidelity view into the ownership experience of the property.
I was thinking of a couple of different tangential lines of business that grow it out. When you have all that data around the home and the home buyer,
Yeah.
the world becomes your oyster. So what is the TAM on HomeScore?
Yeah. So we see, so Americans spend about $100 billion in real estate commissions a year. With this new settlement that I was kind of alluding to, a lot of estimates take that might come down to around 70 billion. So our efficiency, what we see as like a serviceable, obtainable market for us, really comes at the crossroads of making agents more efficient and collapsing of the tech stack that a lot of agents use today, these transaction management platforms, e-signature platforms. It's a lot of things in a lot of different corners. So by collapsing a lot of that, we view the kind of obtainable market for us as about $1 billion, which we think is, really exciting. Obviously, that's well beyond our 5-year outlook. Our next steps for us is, really kind of working through, rounding out our fundraising, and then being able to onboard a couple of different brokers to really, fire up the engine of this B2B2C, kind of flywheel that we're trying to ignite.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm glad you mentioned next steps, because now comes the part where you get to look into the camera and tell the audience what it is that you need from them. What's your big vision of the future and how can they help?
Yeah, great question. So to us, we're looking for a couple of different things. We're looking for angel investors. If you're really passionate about the real estate space or property tech in general, or fed up with the current status quo of how the buying process works today, we'd love to get in contact with you. I think another thing that we're looking for is people that run brokerages. That's another area of how we're looking to go to market. So it's really important for us to network and better understand their pain points and what are the shortcuts that HomeScore can offer to accelerate the efficiency of their work, of their staff, of their team of agents. So that's, kind of another area. And then I think beyond that, in terms of lenders, I think it's not too early for us to really discuss, what is the next stage of integration that we're looking to do. And if we're able to kind of increase the surface area of how HomeScore owns the home buying process, the lending experience and the financials associated with that is really important. We see a lot of this kind of transforming into a real fintech company that extends beyond the home buying process into the home ownership experience. So, if you're a lender, even a small bank, I think that's honestly even preferable because we really want to build an individualized experience and, really chat with a lot of individuals to make sure that we're, tapping on a real pain point. Those areas I think are most important to us going forward. But look, if you're really interested in trying out the app as it is right now, feel free to visit homescore.co. We have, you're able to upload your home inspection, add a couple of properties. It's $5 to give it a shot. We have a free trial associated with that. And there's an intake quiz where if you're kind of looking to better understand your preferences, priorities, risk profile, it's really speech enabled. So it's kind of like talking with someone to, kind of get all of that aggregated. And if you want to reach out to me, I am Jared, Jared, at homescore.co. If you want to chat about anything that I mentioned here. And thanks so much. Really excited to reimagine the home buying experience.
So Jared, you smashed the 20-second elevator pitch. I think you got done in well under 20 seconds with a clear, succinct message.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed our walk and talk. Both of us are abstaining from coffee. Jared, because he never drinks the stuff, and me, because I'm a sadist. But you did an amazing job in this 20 minutes explaining what you're doing, why you're doing it, and where you're going. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks so much, Rob.
Thanks a lot.